Hello, this is Data Consulting, and for today's video, I will be taking a beginner's look at variables in Domo. To show a visual example of what I will be doing today, here is a graph that uses a newly created variable called sector choice to auto-update the neighboring bar graph. So as you can see, there's a sector choice column right here where there's different pill selections you can choose, and there's also a neighboring graph. So when selecting the industrial sector, it will load and update the graph to show the sum of the industrial sector. You can also notice that it updates the title of the card. So when selecting any of these sector choices, it auto updates the card. This is essentially what a variable is in the most basic form. It allows you to, on the fly, update visualizations from the dashboard. So to create your own variable or visualization using variables, simply create a card. So you can do that by, again, hitting the wrench, dragging the card function in, and then hitting add new card. Today, I'm just going to walk you through what I've done with this card and show you a full built out example to hopefully give you some direction if you decide to attack this your own way. So again, we're going to go into this card. We're going to go into the analyzer. And right away you can see that there's a control panel over here on the right side of the graph. For right now, we can just get rid of that. Get it out of there. So to start off with, you want to kind of think of how your graph should look. For my example, I wanted a bar graph with dates on the bottom and then to show the sum of the different electricity sectors and how much essentially money they made over the years. So right off the bat, I'm always going to use date. So I can put annual total or the date into the x-axis. But for the y-axis, I want that to be able to update and change based on what variable is chosen by the user. So to do that, I have to create a variable. So coming down here, we can see a red bar, which essentially means it's a variable. So this is the variable I created. And down here is the control I created. So you're going to need both of these choices or options if you want to kind of copy or implement the way I have done. So to start off with, we need to create a variable. Opening up the beast mode editor and clicking the variable selection. If you don't know how to do that, simply go to the beast mode, come up to the top left corner, hit add new, and then click variable. This will open up this screen right here. Here you can choose the name of your variable. I chose sector choice. You can add a description if you want, it's optional. You can then choose the type of values you want the variable to display. So for mine, I chose text, but you can choose date or number. You can also then choose a default value. So this is the value that's always going to show up first or display first when the dashboard is loaded. So for mine, I chose total of sectors or the total sum of all of the other sectors together, which is industrial sector and electric power sector. But say you want to add choices or edit these default controls, you can simply select up here. You can choose whatever you want. Drop down, radio options, text box input, checkbox, slider, date drop down, and so on. Some of these are grayed out though because based on the value type I have chosen, they cannot be used. For my example, I have chosen pills. And then down here, you can choose or make your available values. So what you basically want to be choices in your control panel. For mine, I did industrial sector, electric power sector, and total of sectors. These are very easy to add. All you have to do is click the add and type it out. Once this is done, your variable is created. This is honestly the easiest part of the variable creation. So once you're done with this, you simply save it. I'm not going to save, but you can simply save it and create the variable. Next, you need to make a beast mode control. So that's what this is. Simply put, it's a when statement. When sector choice, so when the variable equals industrial sector, then some industrial sector, and so on with electric power sector, and so on with total of sectors or the total net generation. Again, this is a very simple way to do it. I plan to go into more in-depth, difficult, or hard to understand ways of doing this in the future, or more complicated ways in the future as well. But to start off with, this is the very beginning, basic way to use variables. So once this is created, once your when statement or case statement is made, you simply validate it, create it, and view it in the beast modes and segments down here. You then simply drag and drop it into the y-axis. Once you do that, you should essentially be done. To make sure it works though, you can pull up the controls panel again. Let's go ahead and make this bigger. And here we can now, let's get rid of this. We can now select our choices. Industrial sector, it updates. Electric power sector, it updates. So we can see that it works. So let's get rid of that. But now I want the title to update with my variable. So when I make a new choice in the pill, the variable is updated as well as the title of the card is updated. So to do that, go to the card title, and what you're going to do is hit Add Smart Text. You're going to go down to Variables. You're going to choose Sector Choice, of course, or your title, or your variable, I mean. And then you will then put a default text in. So this is what it's going to be again whenever the dashboard is reloaded. This is what's going to be displayed on the card title. So to make this work out perfectly, we need to put the same default text as we did as the same default value in our variable we created. So for this example, we chose total of sectors. So we would put total of sectors here. Though I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to remove it. But that's essentially what I did here, and then put net generation, electricity generation afterwards. So as you can see with the example, by which selection I choose, it updates the title and then adds the net electricity generation off at the end. So once your card is created, you simply close it out or save it and close it. You go back to your dashboard and you can see your card. At this point, you won't see this stuff on the left side. You'll only see the card where you dragged and dropped it and created it. But now we want to add the control here so where people can update the card on the dashboard without having to click on it and go into the analyzer. To do this, simply click on the wrench once again, go to Edit Dashboard, and then at the very bottom, my camera is kind of blocking it. There's going to be two lines with two dots on it right here. That's the control function or the control. To then add that to your dashboard, you will simply grab it and drag it and drop it to where you want it. For example, I chose this one right here, but let's add another one just in case. To add a variable, simply hit add, and then it will show you all the variables that you have created for this page. Now, you can only have one variable, like you can only have the variable on your dashboard once at a time. So since I already have sector choice, I cannot add it again. So let's go ahead and delete sector choice real quick. Remove it, delete that. Let's move this back up and hit add, and we can see right away sector choice has been updated and is now showing. Select that, and boom, right away selector choice has been updated and now shows on the dashboard. And right off the bat, we can then save, and right away we can then use the sector choice to update and edit the graph. Now this is a very basic and intro version of variables, but I hope you can already see how useful they are and how much they can do. Now, I've only used one variable on this graph. You can choose multiple. I can have a variable for the x-axis to change the date periods, so I could have it be set to month to date, quarter to date, year to date, decade to date, so forth and so forth. You can have multiple controls all controlling one card or multiple cards. For example, I could add another card over here to the right, so I have two graphs, maybe one pie graph, one bar graph, and by selecting these choices, if these graphs are built out correctly, we'll edit and change both cards. So you can have very usable and in-depth card choices with variable choices to make very strong, easy to use visualizations that help your customers or clients or coworkers reach their business answers that to the questions they might have going into the dashboard. I hope this has been good to all those wanting to learn about variables, and I hope to see you all again sometime soon, and I hope you all have a great day.